Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed on Tuesday he has a plan he wants to present to US President Joe Biden, which he believes will end the war with Russia.
One part of the plan that is already performed is in the Kursk region. The second part is Ukraine's strategic place in the world's security infrastructure. The third part is a pressure package, a powerful package to force Russia to end the war diplomatically. The fourth part is economic.
He said it would eventually end in dialogue, but that Kyiv had to be in a strong position. There was no indication of what the next steps would be, but he said he was hoping to attend the UN General Assembly in New York in September and that he was preparing to meet Biden. The comments come as several people are dead and multiple injured after Russia continued major missile and drone attacks across Ukraine regions for a second day, officials said on Tuesday. 2 people were killed when this hotel was hit by a missile in the central city of Kryvyi Rih. Just the frame of the building remained as rescuers combed through the rubble. In the southeastern city of Zaporizhia, 3 died in a drone attack, with 3 others injured in the region. The strike comes a day after Russia pummeled Ukrainian energy infrastructure with more than 200 missiles and drones on Monday in its biggest air attack of the war. While Tuesday's barrage was smaller, in the capital Kyiv, the military administration said air defences shot down all incoming targets aimed at the city. Zelensky said on Tuesday that Kyiv would retaliate against Russia for its strikes. He asked allies to consider joint air defense operations and provide long-range capabilities. The Russian Defense Ministry said forces had carried out a high-precision weapon strike on Ukraine overnight, the Interfax news agency reported. Moscow denies targeting civilians since launching a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, although thousands have been killed. Several Russian military bloggers said Moscow's attacks were an act of retaliation for Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia's western Kursk region, the first such action since
Former President Donald Trump was hit with a new 36-page indictment on Tuesday, related to his effort to overturn his 2020 election defeat. The new indictment was obtained by U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith's team after narrowing their approach to the election subversion case, following a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that former presidents have broad immunity from criminal prosecution. The revised indictment lays out the same 4 charges it brought against Trump last year, but it focuses on his role as a political candidate seeking re-election, rather than as the president at the time. The new reworked indictment no longer includes allegations that Trump sought to pressure the U.S. Justice Department in his bid to overturn the election. Dropping those allegations appeared to be an effort to keep the prosecution alive, after the Supreme Court found on July 1st that Trump could not be prosecuted for that conduct. A Justice Department spokesman said the case was presented to a new grand jury, which had not heard evidence from the original case. Attorneys for Trump did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Israeli army released video on Tuesday that it said showed Khalid Farhan al-Qadi, an Israeli hostage the military said was rescued from a tunnel in the southern Gaza Strip. Video showed a military helicopter landing at a hospital to receive the 52-year-old, who spent more than 10 months in captivity after he was abducted by Hamas-led gunmen on October 7th.
I am happy to inform you that today in the afternoon we received Mr. Farhan al-Qadi, a returned captive from Hamas tunnels.
Dr. Shalomi Kodesh of the Soroka Medical Center said al-Qadi was in stable condition.
He underwent initial evaluation in our emergency department. He appears to be in general good condition, but will require another day or 2 of medical tests to make sure he is still okay.
Military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said al-Qadi was recovered in a complex rescue operation from an underground tunnel in southern Gaza. He gave no other details of the operation, citing the security of the remaining hostages and Israeli forces. The operation was hailed by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said he had spoken with al-Qadi. He added that Israel would work tirelessly to return the more than 100 hostages still in Gaza back home. Ismail al-Qadi, the brother of the rescued hostage, spoke to reporters outside the hospital.
Can't express my feelings. I hope my mother will be happier than us. We prayed for him. My mother prayed for him more. Her prayer reached the sky.
Al-Qadi was taken hostage in Kibbutz Magen, one of a string of communities around the Gaza Strip that was attacked by Hamas-led fighters on October 7th. More than 250 Israelis and foreigners were taken hostage in the attack, in which some 1,200 people were killed. Since then, Israel's military has leveled much of the Gaza Strip and displaced most of the 2.3 million population. And Palestinian health authorities say more than 40,000 people have been killed in Gaza by Israeli forces.
UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi said Russia's Kursk power plant is at risk of a nuclear accident. That's while a frontline battle rages in the Kursk region, a mere 25 miles from the plant.
When a plant is operating, the temperature is much higher, and if there was the case of an impact or something that could affect it, there would be serious consequences.
Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, gave his warning on Tuesday after an inspection.
This nuclear power plant is of the RBMK type, which basically means that it does not have the containment dome and protective structure that is typical to most of the more current nuclear power plants. What does this mean? This means that the core of the reactor containing nuclear material is protected just by a normal roof. This makes it extremely exposed.
President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine last week of trying to attack the Kursk plant. That's after Ukrainian troops carved out a portion of Russian territory this month. Ukraine has yet to respond to the accusations that it attacked the facility. The safety of nuclear power plants has repeatedly been endangered over the course of the Ukraine war. Conflict began in February 2022, when Russia sent thousands of troops over the border into Ukraine. Moscow and Kyiv have repeatedly blamed each other for drone and artillery attacks on the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. However, the recent incursion by Ukrainian forces into Russia has put the spotlight on the Kursk plant. It has 4 reactors of the same design as those at the Chernobyl nuclear plant, scene of the world's worst civilian nuclear disaster in 1986. Grossi also visited a school in the region, close to the Kursk nuclear power plant. A Reuters reporter heard air raid sirens blaring, indicating a missile threat, moments before Grossi arrived. Grossi has repeatedly warned of a nuclear disaster if nuclear plants are attacked.
Moussa Diaby Wage is one of the thousands of migrants from Mali seeking a better future in Europe. In January 2020, he crossed the ocean in a small boat from the Mauritian shore, fleeing conflict in his home country, which is grappling with jihadist insurgents.
If we had work, we wouldn't come, but we don't have a lot.
Now, the 20-year-old trains hard as a rugby player.
I always wanted to play rugby with a Spanish team. Inshallah, God willing. That's my dream. I've been training many years. Those years have passed, but I will continue to fight with my team, so that I am seen, and one day I can play for a big team.
Many more teenagers will risk the dangerous sea voyage to reach Europe, Diaby said.
If migrants come when they are young, they may have a good future and achieve a lot, so that is why so many youths come.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez began his second visit this year to West Africa. He wants to curb migration to the Canary Islands and counter Russia's influence in the Sahel region. According to data from the EU's border agency Frontex, nearly half of migrants currently reaching the Canaries are Malians. Spanish authorities fear that as many as 150,000 more migrants from Africa may arrive this year.
Here in the northern Mexican state of Chihuahua, people are anxiously awaiting any sign of rain to refill dried out dams, wells, and lagoons. The state has faced unusually low rainfall levels in recent years, and so far they've waited in vain. Near the town of Buenaventura, Las Lajas Dam is near empty, and the little water left is infested with dead fish. Rogelio Pacheco Flores is the mayor.
Insólito para mí, pues la verdad nunca me había tocado ver.
He says the dam has never looked like this before and that the dire situation feels like a punishment from nature. Farmers have been unable to irrigate their crops. Some have decided to leave land unplanted or use the remaining water to keep long-standing groves of walnut trees from dying. Local beekeepers have also been hit as the lack of rain has drastically reduced wildflower blooms. Bees are dying in huge numbers as they look for pollen elsewhere, making them vulnerable to herbicides and pests. Daniel Alberto Rubi, a fisherman who gives boat tours of the dam to visitors, can only hope that conditions will improve in the months to come.
This year, the dam is very dry. Its water level is 20%, and the water level continues to drop.